Kailub Russell felt awfully comfortable at our last Grand National cross-country race. It was his home track, and he scored the win ahead of a torrid battle with everyone else, fighting for second, third, fourth, and fifth. They gave it everything they had, but can they knock off the defending champion today? Welcome to the Snowshoe Ski Resort in West Virginia for what is set to be a wild day of AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Racing presented by Maxxis. It's an AMA National Championship, and these fans are pumped for so many reasons. You see, this event is totally unique. We're going to start up on top of the ski village, nearly a mile in elevation, work our way down into those woods. On top is Kailub Russell, series points leader, defending champion. Here's John Strang at the number 4, probably the best candidate to knock him off. Don't forget Jordan Ashburn, another Yamaha rider, teammates with Strang here at the number 7. Also unique to this event, we line up by order of overall points. So you see another number 1, Grant Baylor of the XC2 Pro Amateur Division. He's done well this year. He gets a reward. He gets to start up front. Let's go racing at Snowshoe. I'm Jason Wygant here to give you the call.
Snowshoe GNCC.
Here, Rodney Tomlin, our live event announcer, pumping these fans up. Strang going to control it. Now, usually we start the entire pro class on row 1. Here we started rows of 5. Baylor trying to work the outside line to take the lead on his little 250. Strang gets him back. From that row, we're missing Charlie Mullins, who is out with an injury today. So only 4 riders in row 1. 30 seconds back comes row 2. And again, we're lining up by order of overall scores this year as opposed to by class. So this is the day where the young kids from the Pro-Am division on the 250s have their shot on adjusted time. Here's row 3. Thad Duvall leading that group on the 989. He has been lightning quick at this event in the past. He's got a minute of time adjustment to work with. Watch for him. We're into the woods. Russell has now taken the lead on the number 1, and his roll-offs are already undone. So he's going to have a tough time with vision if any of these riders can get in front and roost him. Strang, Ashburn coming through next. Then it should be Grant Baylor. But Russell doing what he needs to do by getting into the lead early. We'll see if Strang can run with him. Strang has been very fast in his own right at this event before. There's Baylor, the XC2 rider. Andrew DeLong catching up from row 2. And that 30-second gap, there are riders that will tell you sometimes it's an advantage to start behind and then just try to shadow these guys. Then you'll have them beat on adjusted time, but you're going to lose and gain more than 30 seconds here and there, these treacherous sections, if you get stuck. Already a nice battle brewing through this difficult terrain. There's Duvall from row 3. He's already with the riders from row 1 and 2. I'm telling you, he's going to be tough today. But how tough is this guy? Russell just working his way through. You won't see another GNCC that's this tight, that has this kind of soil as far as a combination of rocks and mud and tree roots. And of course the hills are crazy because we're at a ski resort. This is a tough one. That's another XC2 rider moving forward, and then Duvall is there also. So it's all sorts of mixed up back there. The second and third rows and the first row have been trading spots, except for this guy. This is incredible. Woo, Russell is gone. You see a downed bike there from our earlier race at 10 in the morning. That's just been abandoned. That's how difficult this course is. Now it looks like Ashburn has climbed to the number 2 position to try to settle this battle. Now here comes Duvall, already up to 3rd physically on the track, so he's passed 7 or 8 riders in the early goings. That's XC2 rider, I believe that's Ricky Russell coming through, and then Andrew DeLong, so they are trying to stick with each other. What happened to Strang? Here's Grant Baylor, who remember got that row 1 hole shot. Now he's got a lot of work to do, already losing some ground. As we head into these rocky, rutted, dark, tree-rooted woods. And And this is where Kailub Russell has upped his game the last couple of years. He's kind of a smaller guy, and I think the first up in this bigger class and the bigger bike, he would struggle in these muddy races, but he has figured it out. Ashburn, meanwhile, long, lanky kid, see throwing that leg out, able to save himself. Fans down here like to call themselves the Mud Fleas. This is GNCC tradition. They'll point out the good lines as you see Duvall coming through in third. And if you get stuck, they'll be more than glad to lend a hand and pull you out. They are anticipating, in fact, these riders having troubles. But so far, nothing happening. If you're the number one of Russell, he is just on a trail ride all by himself, taking a look over, wondering where is everybody. Now, his main competition in the series, we mentioned Charlie Mullins, who would have been on row one, but Mullins is now out with a broken wrist. And Russell's got to try to find a way to stay motivated without the rider he expected to have to fight today in the race. Ashburn's going to be the one here in second to provide the challenge. It's a long uphill section. There's over 1,000 feet of elevation change on this course. Russell now rolling through the pit area. That's paved. That's a nice rest for the weary, and he's got fresh goggles. Remember, he had problems with those in lap one, and he's still checked out. He's on the gas. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. It's the AMSOIL Snowshoe GNCC here at NBCSN. I'm Jason Wygant giving you the call. This is Kailub Russell putting on a riding clinic, showing you how to master some of the most difficult terrain you can take a two-wheeled machine through. Now, it's pretty easy out here in the fields. Yeah, he's got a little bit of mud and rocks to deal with, but when you get deep into the woods like this, Snowshoe is one of the most challenging of all. Look at the job he's doing up on the pegs, keeping his balance as being kicked around by these rocks, tree roots. Very slippery terrain with all the mud. Jordan Ashburn here in second. A little later in the show, we'll have highlights of our ATV racing, also as we always do on Racer TV. Give you the full scope of GNCC racing for the weekend. There's Andrew DeLong in third place. DeLong has gotten around Thad Duvall. I thought Duvall, the West Virginia native, would maybe make a run for the lead, but he has apparently made a mistake. Easy to do on this course, and that has slowed him up a bit. So no challengers right now for Russell, who's just rolling. You see he's past the 5-mile mark of, I believe, the second lap here. Woo! That bike is kicking all over the place. This track a lot longer than a typical GNCC. Usually we're running about 10 or so miles. Here you run 10 on one side of the mountain and then about 10 on the other. So it's roughly double the length lap time-wise. But with the pits in the center, the riders still get to see their crews about as often as they would at a regular race, which really comes handy in here, considering all the problems you could run into when you're riding up a hill filled with mud, rocks, tree roots, and other riders going down. That's what DeLong just had to fight through. There's Russell on the gas, making it look pretty easy. Now you get out of these tram roads and you're able to really floor it, and that's a good rest spot, because here, if you're a rider like Ashburn, you are just fighting the motorcycle. There's 250-some pounds to try to come out from underneath you. Gets to take a deep breath, look over his shoulder, get a drink of water, clear the goggles here. That's welcome relief. Andrew DeLong, last year one of the front runners in the XC2 class for 250s, really coming into his own now on the big bikes at the halfway point of this season. His debut in the XC1 division, riding that Husqvarna. He is up to third. There's Russell picking his way through again. Nice move, sliding the motorcycle and keeping it right where he wants and getting around the traffic. Let's see how Ashburn handles it. Well, he didn't have a rider in the way, so he was even smoother.
There were 3 guys on the one uphill.
And you hear some radio chatter in the background. 3 guys stuck on one uphill. We do run other classes out here besides the pro divisions, and it is tough on those riders. DeLong is a professional at this game, gets to ride and train full-time and prepare for events like this. But as prepared as you are, look at Russell almost finally getting it stuck. Even he will have problems at times. I mean, look at those tree roots. You'll get a chance to see it again. Woo, that's a different way to take it. Extreme momentum for Ashburn to try to get through. Watch tree roots they're dealing with right there. Well, they're able to get around it by going to the inside. This is just straight nastiness. And a lot of times in races like this, you'll hear the riders say, you're not even battling for position. You're just battling the track. Just trying to get around it. Got some mud fleas here pointing out the lines for Russell in this mud bog. Wow. You can hear the buzz from the fans. He almost styled his way through that section. Ashburn trying to do the same. Feet up on those foot pegs. You want to ride the bike with the lowest center of gravity possible, so they try to control it with their ankles and their legs as opposed to the handlebars. You wrench on those bars for 3 hours like these guys are going to do. Sometimes you have no choice in a section like this, but you do it as little as possible or you will completely exhaust yourself. Try to use your legs as much as you can. The problem is when you make a mistake, you'll see these guys get the feet off the pegs, have to paddle a little bit. That's when you're using the handlebars to hold on, and that kills the energy. So these guys do everything they can to try to ride with their boots as opposed to their gloves. Easier said than done. When the motorcycle's just kicking all over the place and you got to put the leg out for balance. Oh, like Russell had to do right there. Nothing he could do. He tried to save it. Now he's stuck on one of those tree roots. A mud-covered tree root is like trying to ride on a popsicle. It's like ice. Russell trying to get out of it and maintain the lead. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC. And by Can-Am. Fans going crazy here. Round 9 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. Let's show you the ATV highlights from this snowshoe event. Chris Borich, your defending champ, he'll be on row 1, showing off for the fans. But Walker Fowler's the guy that's got to try to catch him in the series standings. And Fowler did win the last race in dramatic fashion. Now there's West Virginia's own Adam McGill, the king of the opening ceremonies. He's figured out a new way to celebrate here. The fans would love to see a thriller from McGill and see if he can take this victory. He's on the outside of row 1. Borich leading the field into turn 1. These guys going to blast through the same terrain you saw the bikes hit as Fowler and Borich battle for the number 1 and 2 spots. There is Fowler now into the lead on the Ampro NFAB Yamaha. He has been on Borich's heels all season. Borich, the 5-time and defending champ of this series. Many believe that Fowler here could be the rider to knock him off. He has a great pedigree. Although right now he's just trying to figure out a great line up this hill. They're actually stopping and getting advice from fans. I believe that's Cole Richardson from the XC2 class, another one of those back row guys who has already climbed up to the number 2 spot physically. And you can see these riders so concerned with not getting stuck. They are just stopping when they need to. Look before you leap is the strategy today. Fowler trying to do what Kailub Russell's doing in the bike race. If you were watching earlier, getting away early. It's all sorts of mixed up behind him. I believe that is McGill moving forward and then Borich. So McGill climbing back into this race. And then heartbreak for Fowler, who would break a chain while leading. And suddenly his day was at an end. Borich dropped back a bit and it opened the door for a 3-rider fight, all on Hondas. McGill, Jared McClure, who was on row 1, and the master of snowshoe, Brian the Big Bad Wolf, who has won this race on multiple occasions. For some reason, Wolf and this terrain gel. And here he is, trying to close the gap. He's picked off all but 2 riders in this field, and now he's got the lead in the open stuff. For some reason, Wolf is nearly unstoppable at snowshoe if the course doesn't get him, if the bad luck doesn't bite him. There's McGill going to try to give him an honest run, and McClure there, the number 10 in 3rd. And look at the stack up of riders on this hill climb. This is just treacherous. Now McGill able to take the lead back from Wolf and McClure. But you always get the feeling on this course that it's just going to come down to who makes the last mistake. who does not get stuck on the final lap when someone else does. But McGill is trying to bring it home for the home state fans. And here it comes. West Virginians are happy about this. Out of West Union, West Virginia, Adam McGill will take the ATV overall at Snowshoe. First win of the year for him. Wolf, a valiant effort. Best race he has had this season, but this time he finishes second. And there's McClure. He's bummed. He knew he had a shot at this one of these days. The kid out of Maryland is going to get one of these victories. He's getting closer and closer every year. There's McGill celebrating in front of a huge crowd here in the Snowshoe Village. Got a chance to get cleaned up, I see, as well. Here are the AMSOIL results. Borich scoring solid points in 5th, taking advantage of the chain break for Fowler and extending the series points lead. We'll be right back. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Kailub Russell leads the way at the AMSOIL Snowshoe GNCC. It has been a dominant run, and this rider, who is always known for his incredible speed, is now showing the world he is a technical assassin as well. If it's slow, it's nasty, it's steep, it's rocky, he can handle that stuff with the best of them as well. He has spent a lot of time working on that aspect of his game. Here's Jordan Ashburn, who has spent most of the day in second here on the NFAB AmPro Yamaha. And Andrew DeLong on the factory Husqvarna is third and looking for a top 3, looking for a podium. Whoa. Camera belies just how steep and difficult this section is. Back to Russell. You can see he's on the ski slopes here. Oh, standing up to that entire section, then finds a nice low line off to the left side, dealing with the rocks. No problem. Again, it is a clinic. Stopping in the pits. His wife Chandler there on the left. Mechanic Tanner Harding on the right. Fresh goggles, some fuel, and a little bit of extra drink. These riders do have a drink system on their back, but they take as much water in as they can. So if they can take an extra bottle or two in these pit stops throughout the race day, they'll do it. And Russell now back to business. And he knows with the lead he has, it's really not about speed. It's all about preventing this course from ending your day. We heard about it in the ATV race with Walker Fowler breaking a chain while all alone out front. Any one of these rocks out here can end it in a hurry. Plus, when you're fighting the bike, these open sections are not so bad, but deep in the woods, these riders are using the clutch a lot. They can burn the clutch, they can overheat the engine. So there's an element of survival at this race that makes it kind of old school. Back in the day, this Grand National Cross Country Championship was basically a survival event. It was all down to who could finish races without completely exhausting themselves or the motorcycles. These days, the bikes are a lot better. That makes life a lot easier on the riders. You see Jordan Ashburn here checking into the AmPro NFAB Yamaha pit and getting gassed up, getting new goggles as well. That was a pretty good stop, but not nearly as much of a hurry as we'd have in other events. Time is not as much of the essence here as just staying out of trouble as you see DeLong go by in third. And look at this, a new rear tire for Josh Strang. Now, flats usually aren't an issue because these riders can run foam inserts in replacement of the tubes, but they can actually rip the knobs off the tire dealing with these rocks all day. Well, here is Russell looking for the white flag. Now we're actually hearing some of the riders. This track can be so rough that the foam tubing in there can actually disintegrate. So sometimes they need to do stop and repair for that. As Russell continues to handle the rugged terrain of Snowshoe Mountain. Ashburn tractoring that big Yamaha 450 uphill. These guys have to be so tired now, about 2.5 hours into this, on the final lap, fighting the course and the machines one last time. And this is a big day for Andrew DeLong. The first year in the class for him, he's looking for his first ever trip to the stage. getting it into the top 3. Russell has emerged from the woods. He has dominated Snowshoe. It doesn't matter what terrain they're on. When he's rolling, he's impossible to stop. And he's going to further extend the points lead in the championship as well. Here is the number 7, Jordan Ashburn. Solid run for second. Really good year for the nice kid out of Tennessee. And we wait for third. Here it is. First ever trip to the podium for Andrew DeLong. Yeah, he's probably tired fighting the bike right through the finish. He'll be tired and rest up tomorrow. It doesn't matter. He's going to get to shake the champagne as you look at the AMSOIL results. Strang overcoming the problems with the rear tire, finishes 6th behind Stuart Baylor and Chris Fox. Thomas Whibley Robinson and Ryan Sipes, the former motocrosser, round out the top 10. I'm sure Sipes learned a lot today on this rough track. We'll give you the AMSOIL race recap to show you how it went down. Grant Baylor, normally starting on row 2, got the bump up to row 1 today, took the early lead. Before long, though, Kailub Russell got around him and everyone else. Few mistakes here and there, but it was a great day overall for the number 1. Jordan Ashburn chased him around for the majority of it, and Andrew DeLong would work his way up to 3rd. And it was all about keeping the bike running on a rough and rocky day. Kailub Russell did it best at Snowshoe. For everyone at Racer TV, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.